Hustleburg. This podcast is about the small business people of Saint Petersburg, Florida, how they got to where they are, how they built their business, and how they're serving our community. I'm Brett Bittner, and I'm the host of Hustleburg, and I started Beyond Your Side Hustle, where we help budding entrepreneurs go beyond their side hustles and ditch their 9-to-5s. As the founder of a small business here in St. Pete myself, I'm talking to fellow small business owners and answering marketing questions from them and from you as well. Each week we'll release an episode, alternating between an interview with a small business person here in St. Pete and an episode strictly answering your questions about marketing, building a brand, or operating a small business. There are also a few bonus mini episodes on the horizon, so keep an eye out for those. In this episode, I'm talking with Kara Wright of Kara Wright Photography. Enjoy! So, what is it about photography that has you passionate about it, that's what you decided that you wanted to go into business doing?
Well, I think that it comes from my whole family, sort of a bunch of creatives.
Okay.
I really love finding the perfect angle. So I kind of started off in real estate photography in that respect, but then I drifted, and now I'm into more like weddings and things like that. But yeah, finding the right angle, the right shade of color, the lighting, it's fun. It's like a game for me.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Now, what kind of photography is it that you focus on, that you primarily do?
I do a lot of weddings and a lot of architecture and real estate photography. I do portraits, though, and family photos. I really do all of it. I don't do too much food photography, but everything else, mostly weddings, though.
What is your favorite shoot that you've ever done? Tell me all about it. Like, what were you doing? Who was there? What made it the absolute perfect shoot?
Well, I had a bride who had a wedding up on the mountains back towards D.C. in Maryland. Okay. And she had like a kind of a carnival feel to it. So we had all kinds of like neon lights. So everything changed. So every single angle that I did sort of changed. You had neon lights. You had they had like carnival characters. It was wild, but they had like the funnel machines and all kinds of stuff like that. So that for me, there's a lot of things that can change, and it makes me like a little bit more excited because your dynamics change.
It's not your typical wedding shoot.
So that was really fun. That's the most memorable, but I have really been lucky and have the most amazing brides ever. Awesome. And I mean
no bridezillas then?
Not one. And I really mean that. I've never once. I'm very lucky. I think we both just all kind of vibe together.
So when you're not out shooting, whether it's a house or a wedding or whatever, what is something that we would find you doing here in St. Pete?
I'm new. I'm
very
new. So I've been doing everything.
Okay. So you're still, like me, doing all the touristy kind of stuff?
Yes. Touristy, yes. I mean, just parks, all the restaurants. I think I've put on 12 pounds already. With all the eating and the restaurants, and gotta get back into the gym though. But yeah, it's an adventure. You know, if you can't find something to do here, then that's your fault, because there is so much to do here. Outdoor stuff, indoor stuff. People are lovely. You
said you're new. Where did you move to St. Pete from?
Right outside of D.C., so Maryland. Yeah.
All right. So is that where you're from originally?
Yes.
Or okay, awesome.
Yes. Raised and everything.
Well, so we know why you shoot, because you like all of that stuff. We know kind of what your favorite shoots are like. We have a pretty good idea of the things that you're doing here in St. Pete. Yes. Tell me a little bit more about the things that you have upcoming that you're excited are upcoming.
Well, again, I'm new here, so I'm really building all of my clientele again, which I've had, since 2013. I had a huge clientele in DC. So it's a little challenging. I've been networking. I've done a lot of family portrait sessions because of the holidays. People love that. So that's been really cool. And real estate for me in the Tampa area has really picked up. So I've got a lot of stuff going on. It's just kind of figuring out what's going to be really, really, weddings. I've booked a couple weddings here so far. It's a lot, owning a small business. It's tough. It's an everyday, all-day thing, all night. I don't care if you're on vacation, wherever. It's a lot. So
you've built one before you moved.
Yes.
And now you're rebuilding in a new place.
Yes.
What would you say is the biggest challenge that you found as your, either the first time or this time, that you have out there in building your small business?
I just had so much confidence back home because I had such a great booming business here. So now It's a little tough for me because I know my clientele up north really trusted me.
Okay.
And now I'm like, oh my gosh, are they going to trust me? Do they know I'm really going to take care of them and all those? That's tough for me. So every time I've done a shoot now, it's been just a nervous wreck, which I'm not quite used to for a while.
Okay.
But that's kind of been my main issue.
All right. And what would you say has been the biggest success that you've seen either the first time you built or building here in St. Pete?
It's just so new right now. I'm really just trying to find my spot in this place. There's a lot of great photographers here. A lot.
Awesome.
So, which is super cool, and they're all friendly. So I'm just really trying to figure it out. I've only been here a month.
Okay. So you're really, really
yes,
brand new. All right.
Yes.
So I've got a couple months on you. All right. So what is it that that kind of gives you talked about the perfect shoot that you had. Your perfect client. Tell me what they're like.
They're a lot like me.
Okay.
Which I can be a little bit high-strung, I think, and that comes with owning your own business. But in the same respect, I'm extremely relaxed.
Okay.
And all of my brides and all of my clients are really the same way. So when I can instantly connect with them, just like Jessica, who we were shooting earlier. I mean, I just met her 2 weeks ago, and we had a connection, and that makes the shoot just go so much better.
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
So how is it that you're out there networking to try to find these kind of people? How are you building the brand that people that you're going to be able to connect with in that way are finding you?
Yes.
And how are you finding them?
I mean, social media is like unreal. Facebook, surprisingly, has been really big for me down here.
Okay.
Up north, it was more of Instagram. But social media, really. I did join a bunch of networking groups in the Tampa area, too, and Saint Petersburg. So that's been helpful. So I'm always trying to learn, meet new people, and gain more knowledge, and see what's working for other people, too.
Okay.
And a lot of people have just had open hours with that, which is really nice when you're in the same industry.
Now, what have you found has worked for you in the differences between Instagram and Facebook as you've come down here?
Well, I guess in Instagram you probably get a lot more volume.
Okay.
And not as many clients out of it. Whereas Facebook, it's just been one after another.
Oh, great.
Booking, absolutely. It's been it's amazing. And I just did not have that up there, even though I was sort of doing the same kind of advertising. Not really advertising, just kind of making sure I join the right groups. People are looking for photographers, and I'm like, hi,
It's me.
I'm ready, what do you need? Kind of stuff. But yeah, that's kind of the difference. Just more clients come out of it.
Okay, and are you focused more on organic or paid reach when it comes to...
Organic.
It's all organic for you?
All organic right now.
Okay.
I do advertise on the Knot.
Okay.
For weddings.
Sure.
Which is really great.
Tell me a little bit more. I've never been on the Knot, so tell me a little bit more about that as an opportunity for you specific to photography.
Well, it's great for all wedding vendors, but for photographers, it's great because you get to showcase your work.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of brides have issues when they're where to start to look for a photographer, whether it's word or mouth. I mean, you can take your best friend's opinion, but sometimes you want to do your own research, and the Knot is a great place to start. These photographers on there, you are paying for it, but you have your own little landing page and your pricing and things like that, and you can connect, and they've got an app, and you're always connecting to your bride. So
very cool.
Nice.
I've not been in that space, so that's a definitely an interesting thing to find, especially for those that are in the wedding business. That's fantastic. Mm-hmm. Well, we've talked about Facebook, we've talked about Instagram. Where can people find you online? Where is the best way for them to see the work that you showcase, so that you can show off kind of what you're doing behind the camera? Yeah,
the Facebook is great, but I'm still sort of slow on keeping all of my up-to-date photos and stuff up there. But Instagram and my website are linked together. So whether you go to my website or to Instagram, you're going to have all of my updated... I'm posting daily or every couple of days of new shoots. I try not to dwell on older shoots. New stuff, every day almost.
For the listeners, what's that URL for the website?
That's KaraWrightPhotography.mypixieset.com.
All right. And you said Instagram. What's your handle there so that people can find you?
It's K Wright WRIGHT _photos.
All right. And what can they search for on Facebook to find you?
At Kara Wright Photography.
And is all of that linkable from your
Absolutely.
website? Fantastic. Yep. Yes. Now, are you venturing into any of the YouTube or TikTok world to kind of document what you're doing?
I'm probably more of a lurker on TikTok.
Okay.
But I don't think I'll do TikTok quite yet. But it's not something, I mean, I've seen a lot of photographers go in there and showcase their work, but I'm not quite there yet.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah. I've actually seen some tutorials on TikTok where they're talking about some of the really special effects that they do and
posing,
how they make stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It is really neat.
Yeah.
What about LinkedIn? Are you utilizing that as an opportunity?
I'm on LinkedIn. I mean, I do have a bachelor's degree in business. Okay. So that's all on there.
Right.
All my other previous jobs, but I haven't really had my photography on there too much.
Okay.
Maybe I should.
It's a possibility. I mean, you take a look at some of the things that are out there, and since your focus is organic, I would say that LinkedIn and TikTok are probably two of the ones right now where you can get the organic reach without really having much of a paid presence.
I should.
With LinkedIn, you do have to have a bit of a network, but with TikTok, some of that stuff can just take off.
Yeah.
And just because you appear on the For You page and you don't even have to have a following and overnight you have one.
Well, I know I love TikTok. I'm on there for hours. And
yeah.
I'm just like, where did
You're
the time
swiping.
go?
Yeah.
So, maybe I really do.
Okay.
I should.
All right. What would you say is the most valuable lesson that you've learned about business and building a business, especially as you're now rebuilding as you've moved?
There's been a lot of frustration. I don't know. I think there were times, you never take what you're doing for granted. So no matter how well you're doing, always try and stay level-headed, I guess, is sort of what I'm trying to say. It's just, it can be hard when you're just like booking. But you know what? If you keep that mentality where you're just like, you're gonna lose it, and you're gonna lose somebody, and you're gonna forget that real passion where it's not just like a paycheck for me.
Right.
For me, this is like art, and I love doing it. I love hearing from my clients. It's like, I know it sounds cheesy, but it makes my day.
Okay.
The other week I cried. I was like, just editing. I was like, she's going to love these photos. So that's, just kind of make sure that even if you're doing good, do better. Just keep doing better.
So most of the time we think of a photographer as spending time behind the camera, but that's a really small part of what you do, right?
Yeah.
So what is it that we don't see when we hire Kara Wright to do photography for us?
Hours and hours on the computer.
Okay.
Editing, getting your gallery. I like to give my clients a full website, really, of their photos.
Okay.
So it's really easy for them to view, share, download. But editing, lots and lots of hours. And I think a lot of people forget about that I'm not just showing up and taking a photo.
They think that you're just taking that media card, popping it in your computer, and boom, it's all there for them, right?
Yeah, you're manipulating lighting, you're changing things around. It's a lot, but that's fun for me too. It's also like an art.
Sure. You're trying to showcase them and trying to figure out kind of what you're trying to portray for them based on how you guys have talked about it. Exactly. That's awesome. So the last little bit that I wanted to touch on was what are you excited about in building here in 2020? You've got, I'm sure there are going to be weddings out the wazoo. It's almost springtime and summertime, so you're going to have bride after bride after bride, and the occasional groom. Yeah. But what are some of the big things? Are there any expos? Are you doing any of the bridal shows or anything like that locally to help?
No.
Okay.
As of right now, no. This is engagement season, like now. Thanksgiving, as soon as Thanksgiving hits, you've got then Christmas, New Year's, Valentine's Day. This is when everyone gets engaged. And this is when it's busy. People are looking for the photographers.
So right now they're looking for engagement shoots through Valentine's for the most part.
Yeah, or really just starting the process of getting the photographer, because for a wedding, you really need to book your venue and your photographer a year out.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That was something I didn't know, so I'm glad that you brought that up for people that are looking at their wedding in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, or they're not quite ready to ask and they're looking or they're not quite ready to be asked and they're looking a couple years down the road. So you're saying a photographer and a venue a year out. Yeah. Okay. What other useful things have you found as somebody who's part of the wedding industry that you could probably bring about for brides or grooms, whoever's part of the planning?
Well, I've been in the wedding industry for a long time,
Okay.
even before photography. So I was a buyer for a bridal shop, so I know all things wedding dresses, all things weddings. I know a lot of stuff. So I usually am really good about doing timelines, helping with finding other vendors for my brides and grooms.
Okay.
Things that some photographers might not know, but will come later down the road.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Kara, I want to thank you so much for appearing on Hustleburg, and I look forward to putting this together and having it out there for the listeners.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks.
All right.
You did it. You've just listened to Hustleburg. To thank you for listening, we have a free guide to help you get started marketing your business online, aptly named our Getting Started Guide. Available at beyondyoursidehustle.com/gettheguide. See how to begin with the first 3 things you should be doing for your business online. Speaking of businesses, if you're a small business owner and you have a question about marketing, building your brand, or operating your small business that you'd like to have answered on an episode, just go to beyondyoursidehustle.com/podcast question and keep listening to hear it answered during one of our Q&A episodes. If you're local to St. Pete and you'd like to be a guest on an episode of Hustleburg, just let us know. Go to beyondyoursidehustle.com/podcast guest. If you found something of value in this podcast, please take a moment to subscribe, rate, and review on your favorite podcast app. This is something small that you can do to help us shine the spotlight on the great businesses St. Pete has to offer. Music in this episode by my friend Rhymer Educator. You can listen to his latest album, as well as his most recent single, No Fear, on Spotify, Tidal, iTunes, or wherever you listen to great music. Thanks so much for listening, and we look forward to telling you how we do business in the Burg.